Hey everyone, Max here with another Legacy video. Tonight I am playing the Saturday Night Legacy Challenge, and I'm playing something that's kind of an amalgamation of White Black Scam, Esper Vial, Death and Taxes. Not quite sure exactly what to call it. I called it Esper Vial because it's technically in Esper colors and it's got 4 Aether Vials. But really, um, much like the video last week, it's at its core a white black scam list with like grief, solitude, reanimate, ephemerate. I've got a couple of animate deads in here because, as you can see, this is an 80 card deck with Yorion as a companion. So every time I hit my one off, I can be like 80 cards, by the way. But anyway, the idea here is that it's going slightly bigger than the other fair decks. Last week I noticed that I was kind of getting like out muscled by Maverick and stuff like that. And really the way to out muscle other decks is to play Yorion with all your ETB value creatures. Because once you do that, they just can't really beat you. You just go completely over the top of them. And so the idea here is that we've got our scan package. I'm only down to 2 pest controls because I'm trying to fit everything in here. I'm playing a Recruiter of the Guard package with I can obviously find Grief or Solitude, but it can also find Extraction Specialist, which lets you essentially reanimate any 2 CMC creature of yours from the graveyard back to the battlefield. It can't attack or block as long as Extraction Specialist is in, but you can, grab a Bowmaster, you can grab a Stoneforge to get new equipment, you can grab Lavinia, you can grab the main reason we're in Esper here, which is Satoru, the Infiltrator, which is a 2 mana, 2/3 menace from the Thunder Junction set. And whenever, I'm sure you've seen this card around a bunch, but whenever it or anything else and one of your creatures enters the battlefield, as long as it's non-token, you draw a card every time you didn't pay mana for it. So if you Vial it in or flicker it with Flicker Wisp or Yorion, or you reanimate it or ephemerate it, you're drawing cards with Satoru. So the idea here is that we've got this insane value engine with Satoru the Infiltrator going off on that. Stoneforge Mystic can find Lion Sash, Sword of Light and Shadow, Cauldron Complete. Recruit of the Guard, as I started to get into, can find Solitude, Grief, Extraction Specialist, can find Loran of the Third Path, which blows up artifacts and enchantments, and occasionally has a funny little synergy with Orcish Bowmasters, because you can tap to make both you and your opponent draw a card, and obviously, if your opponent draws a card, your Bowmaster's trigger comes up on occasion. Skyclave Apparition, which is just another kind of removal spell. Flicker Wisp, with all the ETB creatures, kind of self-explanatory. Opposition Agent is another tutor target that shuts down decks like Doomsday, but it's also really good against anything with like Crop Rotation or Green Sun Zenith. Sort of Light and Shadow is from the Stoneforge side a way to kind of get more value out of, like, you've did a Grief play earlier on and you've creatures lying around in the graveyard. We only have 6 reanimation effects, but 80 card deck, and we don't have any deck manipulation, so we'd have to draw them. Being able to tutor up a Sword of Light and Shadow also lets us buy back from the graveyard this way. Obviously, there's a little nombo with pest control and Aether Vial. You're just going to have to decide what's more important in the moment. Other than that, I think the deck is pretty self-explanatory, or the rest of it is. Moving on to the sideboard, we have our anti-storm cards right here. We have anti-graveyard. And then I have a second opposition agent because when it's good, it's really good. I have a Plague Engineer for, tribal 1/1 strategies. I have 2 Serenities as a way to deal with, anything that's playing Mox Opal. It's kind of the way to look at that. If it's playing on Mox Opal, it's playing a critical mass of artifacts, and Serenity is super good. And then obviously Yorion, which, as WotC R&D decided, having a companion in your sideboard means that you only have 14 cards in your sideboard. And is that worth the cost? Who's to say? But we will try this out tonight, our 80 card Esper Vial deck. Scam, Death and Taxes. I'm just riffing on names here for the deck. We've got Grief and Satoru. Oh, I know. Undying, like D Undying. Let's see, notepad. It's not worth it. I don't know. Undying with the capital D and Satoru with the capital T. So for death and taxes. I'm gonna go with that. Okay, now that we've chosen a deck name, we can win the challenge. See you all in a minute. Hey everyone, we're back for round one. We're against Betrix 2688. According to their MTG Goldfish, they are on Painter, or they played Painter this morning. So we won the die roll. We'll play first. We will reveal Yorion. Very strange of me to do. I think this hand's a mole because it doesn't have any, like the reanimates don't go anywhere. It can't cast any of its spells. This is a mulligan. This hand's looking a lot better. I think I can toss away probably the marsh flats. I think I'm going to keep and toss the marsh flats because I can cycle this troll if I need to, or pitch to grief if I need to. So I will lead on Vial here. Just a scrubland ether Vial. And my hope, if I draw just a natural source in which to cast Satoru, then I can play it and use the grief. But otherwise, what I can do here is I can just wait. That might actually be the play. Yeah, now with this wasteland, I'm going to hold off on doing any of the grief scam stuff for another turn. The interest here being that I can Vial in the Satoru to draw a card, and then I can do the grief play on top of that. So I'll just be drawing a ton of cards that way. And also, so far, it does look like they're very likely on Painter. This is not indestructible. I will say yes to Vial. Ooh, and we got an Ephemerate. This is going to be insane. Okay, so yes, bring in Satoru. You draw a card. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'll do a grief pitching troll. I'm going to do a bunch of triggers. So I'll do evoke. And then, so I'm drawing the card first. Op agent, nice. Okay, so we're going to take a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to end up taking 2 cards now and 1 card next turn. And so Goblin Engineer and Soul Cauldron combo to win. So I need to get rid of the Engineer, and I need to, if I wasteland here, I don't need to worry about the plow quite yet. So I can do the Engineer and the Painter or Engineer and the Soul Cauldron right now. Or Engineer, Trying to figure this out as far as making sure I don't eat it to something. Yeah, I'll do Engineer and Soul Cauldron right now, and we'll do Painter on the Ephemerate rebound. And I got another draw because this is wild. Okay, so I decided Soul Cauldron here. And I will do that. Okay. Very cool. So yeah, this deck is already popping off. That was just an insane amount of value. And then next turn I'm going to get another chance to do this. Like I have the Ephemerate on rebound. Actually playing the Saga. With Opposition Agent, we will get the thing they tutor, so I'm actually not too worried about that right now. Let's stack it to the Vial second just for knowledge. So we rebound. The Ephemerate, we target Grief. Draw a card. Bunch of triggers. Ooh, drew a plow. Very nice. Okay. So now we can take the plow. We have an answer for Painter Servant in our Swords to Plowshares. And then we'll say yes. We'll tick up to 3. And then we draw for turn. Oh, wow. Okay. That couldn't get better if we had asked it to. So I will Shadowy Backstreet first. Yeah, let's keep that on top. And we'll draw it because we're vialing in a Loran to blow up the Urza Saga. Which is probably going to be very depressing for our opponent because we're drawing a card and blowing up their land. If I were opponent, I would concede right here. They just said hey in chat. And I know this is wild. This feels like bullying. This is nasty. Can you take it easy? I'll try not to. He asked me to take it easy. I'm dying here. Oh my god. I said I'll try not to. Hope they understand. Yeah, so that's pretty good so far. Of course, we've now dealt 2 damage to our opponent. First blood. Let's see here. So they have 5 cards in hand. No board presence, which is nice. But we should really try to... Oh, okay. They decided that was enough. So against Painter, I want Serenity. I like Opposition Agent. Leyline of the Void is like decent, but we'll see what we'd want to cut. I think Sword of Light and Shadow is not that good against them. Lion Sash is solid. Extraction Specialist is like, okay. Lavinia is not that good. Satoru is solid, obviously, as per what we just did. Any other cards that we don't particularly love against them? Bowmasters are like iffy. They're good against Goblin Welder if they keep Welder. A lot of Painter players were cutting Goblin Welder against Bowmaster decks. And so because of the X1 factor. But now people have started, Painter players start realizing that once they cut the Welders, the Bowmaster players are then cutting the Bowmasters, which made it safe to keep the Welders in. It's a little bit of game theory going on. I'm going to cut 1 Bowmaster. And let's see here. Is that enough? Is that right? I think this is solid. Obviously, I have the Aether Vial Serenity non-bow, but again, I'll deal. Yeah, it seems reasonable. Let's run it for game 2. Grief is another one of those cards that's like kind of meh against Painter. I already hit submit deck. Just because they can play out of their graveyard so much. Obviously, it was insane game 1, so that's why I don't think it occurred to me that I might want to cut it. This hand is a keep. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to Sewers turn 1, try to find essentially a white source so that I can play a turn 2 Satoru or a turn 2 Stoneforge. And then at that point, if I play the Satoru, I can Solitude more freely because it will draw me a card back. Otherwise, Stoneforge into Cauldra. Try to close the game. No way to go. They have usually a pretty tough time at dealing with a Cauldra complete outside of using a Goblin Welder to exchange the Cauldra with like an Ether Vial from my graveyard. If, I end up blowing up an Ether Vial with a Pest Control or a Serenity. And then I have Cauldra in play, Vial in the graveyard. The Goblin Welder can actually target either player's graveyard, so they could do something like switch my Vial with my Cauldra. And so that's the kind of thing that I'll try to be aware of as the game goes on and make sure that I do not fall into any of those traps. Okay, it looks like opponent is going to 6. We're going to keep the 7. By the way, I got some new sound equipment, a new microphone, an audio interface, all this stuff. So hopefully my sound is better this week than it has been in the past. Let me know in the comments if everything is sounding amazing and crystal clear. I hope it is. Is this a table? Yeah, okay. Table's all right. This is like the kind of thing I kind of even want to Solitude quickly. Let's do a little bit of, I'm going to play the, debating which one to play first. I think I'm going to go Backstreet first. Okay, Wasteland. Wasteland on top kind of motivates me. This is getting a little bit cheesy, but I'm going to try to Solitude the Shaman token now. I actually should have not done this now. I should have done this after opponent drew and discarded so that they didn't have this knowledge at this point. I played this too early. This was a mistake. The hope was to try to cheese them. I should have waited until the start combat step to do this, because now they have all the knowledge that I got rid of their Goblin Shaman, so they can, they might have discarded like a red source there. But, that's the kind of thing that I didn't necessarily want to have happen. Okay, so now Wasteland on the top. Wasteland off the top, which we knew about. So I think that I'm just deciding if I'm more worried about Saga going all the way up or Ancient Tomb. And I think that I can do more. I mean, the Saga at the very least can get like a Mox Opal, but that only works if you have 3 artifacts in play. I'm going to waste the Ancient Tomb. I'm not sure this is right, but I am going to do it. And with Troll, I'm going to cycle for a Tundra. No, I can't cycle for Tundra. It needs to be a swamp. I cycle for Underground Sea. Or depends if I want to do Satoru. I want to do Satoru, or do I want to do Stoneforge Mystic? Maybe I want to do Stoneforge Mystic, which will mean that I can do... If I go double white, or if I don't give myself double white, it shuts me off of casting 2 white spells, but it also shuts me off of like Skyclave Apparition and Flicker Wisp. So I think I want to get Rebland here. Okay, yeah. So now I can go Stoneforge, pick up a Cauldra Complete. And then if it dies from, getting Furied, Lightning Bolted, what have you, I can extraction specialist it back. Otherwise, I can get a Satoru going. I have lots of options. But it really just depends upon what our opponent's doing here. They're having a reflection active is pretty scary for me. I'd like to get this off the field ASAP through one of my many removal spells. So you can see with like Serenity, it wipes the entire board right now. That's why we brought it in, even though like it could blow up an Ether Vial, which we don't even have. Okay. And Soul Cauldron. Yep. The Soul Cauldron here means that that's really good for me. Oh, that's worse for me. I was going to say I could Extraction Specialist it back, but I can't anymore. I forgot briefly how Soul Cauldron works. The Bowman. So let's see here. I think I'm gonna Undercity Sewers this turn. Try just to do more surveilling. That land out of here. Don't want it. I'm gonna flash in a Bowmaster. It's not worth trying to deal a damage and block the reflection because they can use the Soul Cauldron to grow the reflection even larger. Freya's Apprentice. This Thopter is something that would be worth hitting with a Bowmaster. I'm going to do that at the very least. So no attack with the reflection, because I think the intent here is to copy the Freya's Apprentice, because then they're just kind of going crazy with value. Yeah, they're copying. Oh, they're pumping. Okay, that's... They just made their Thopter survive the Bowmaster. Now, at this point, I think, given that I have the Satoru and I just drew the Solitude, I'm going to play a Surveil just to kind of help plan my turn. So I'll Surveil a Shadowy Backstreet. I don't want the Vial, but it does put it in the yard. So I play a Satoru. If I flash in the Solitude, I do draw a card. So I'll do that. I think it's worth doing now because otherwise this Reflection and Freya's Apprentice thing is just going to get completely out of control. And yeah, we target the reflection, we draw a card. Time rate would be amazing. They're making things expected. Oh my goodness, we found the reanimate. Unreal. Unbelievably lucky. And we did do some deck manipulation, but you know, very happy with how this went. Because we're going to draw yet another card too. That's the crazy part about this. It will target the real Freya's Apprentice. Draw a card. They can sacrifice it with this token. And we found a recruiter. Okay. We're looking good here. So feeling great about this. There's a Saga. Was the hit there, so they can play a Saga. We're going to figure out what we want to recruit for next turn. It might be just Loran. And get the Soul Cauldron out of here. Then I can start using Loran Bowmaster as kind of like a machine gun. That's the thought, at least. That's the prevailing thought on what I want to do here. They're deep in the tank. I wonder what that means. They have 5 mana. Wonder if they have a Fury or something, or figuring out how to point it. Like, they could do 3 to the Satoru, 1 to the Bowmaster, or the Orc Army. They could do 2/1/1, leaving the Satoru alone, but wiping everything else. It is nice that Satoru is a 2/3. All that. Slightly inconvenient to blow up the world against. Does make me think it's a Fury. We'll see what it ends up being. I really have no way of knowing. Okay, so the most mild Fury imaginable is Swords to Plowshares. Does eat our Satoru. So I don't need to worry too much about extracting maximum value from that now. I'd really like to draw Serenity. That'd be the best draw. The new Satoru is not bad though. So if we recruit the guard, because right now Satoru doesn't actually generate value, so I figure better to recruit her now. Play, costs more mana, and sets up our future turns. Yeah, I think I'm gonna either get Opposition Agent or Loran. Op Agent's kind of funny because it means that they can never play a Painter because we get the Grindstone. Grind them out. But I think Loran is better. I'll go Loran. I'm going to attack with the Solitude and the Orc Army. Or no, let's see, because they can pump something. So if I attack with Solitude, they block and trade. I don't think it's worth trading the Solitude, given that I have a Yorion coming down soon. I'm actually gonna... I think I'm gonna hold back, but I'm just thinking about it because I'm taking damage too. Yeah, I'm gonna crash. I just need the life buffer more than anything, I think. Yeah, they didn't do the block and eat my creature thing, so good for me. Gain the life. So now they're gonna put a counter on something. There it is. Now this Thopter token has Swamp Cycling 1 and can put an equipment from their hand onto the battlefield. Very powerful stuff from that little. So now I need to decide if I'd rather blow up the Soul Cauldron or blow up the Urza Saga. Probably the Soul Cauldron. I'm less scared of the Saga, weirdly enough. Saga's good, but Soul Cauldron is shutting off my graveyard stuff and threatening to win the game on the spot. Well, that Animate Dead definitely makes my choice easier. So I play a Loran here. I will pop the Cauldron. And now they'll be making stuff and attacking me. Their construct is way too big for me to attack Solitude in. I will likely block with the Solitude because then I can animate dead with it. But it remains to be seen. It's getting... Well, I will no longer be blocking with Solitude because Solitude has been plowed. But I can do the same play with Loran. And that's probably going to be the plan unless I get a graveyard hate card with this saga. They got Grindstone, they have Painter. Currency Converter. Draws and discards, which obviously does trigger Bowmaster. So we go Construct in front, or sorry, Loran in front, because we're going to try to get value of Satoru and animate. Pest control would be amazing, right? Black, blue, Satoru, dead, Loran, process the card. So I think, as much as I want to blow up a construct, I think I have to blow up the Grindstone just so I don't lose on the spot to a Painter. Because there's still 4 Painters in the deck. Play out my land. So now, let's see. I definitely throw Orc Army and Recruiter in front of the big tokens. I'm going to take 4. I'm trying to think about how I'm going to stay alive this game. Obviously, once I get Yorion down, things would get a lot easier. Draw a card, discard a card. That's nice. So I can deal 1 to opponent, I guess. Yeah, I'll deal 1 to opponent because it's not going to really matter as far as the I could also throw, I think I'm going to throw maybe Orc Army and Satoru in front of constructs. I have another Satoru. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Pest control. Okay, so if this gets Agatha's Soul Cauldron here, then I would very likely just lose on the spot. Or once it gets able to get into play, because things. Oh no, Devourer's been exiled. This puts it back in the yard. Put a card exiled into your graveyard. So they can get it back in the yard once they tap currency converter. So once again, pest control is my best draw. Hope to draw it. Ephemerate would also be a pretty good draw. I'm just kind of trying to think about what would be nice to find. I don't know if I'll have enough time for Serenity anymore. Obviously, it would be great otherwise. Cropwork Mutt. I'm debating about at what point I want to use this Loran ability. I think I'll just attack with Loran. Get in there for one. Oh, we got blocks. Nope, no blocks. No blocks. Got in there for one. Now we're going to put Yorion in hand. Put Satoru on the field. Tapping correctly. Black, blue. Okay, so this is very much not ideal. Try to survive this turn. And then again, if we can get Yorion down, we're looking pretty. Obviously, we lose to a lightning bolt. But there's already Soul Cauldron in the yard, so I think this is the point that we have to act. Air Soul Cauldron thing. We found Serenity. I'll put one on the engineer. We'll see if they go for the Soul Cauldron play. They might not. I am starting to become pretty conscious of my clock for game 3. A Painter's Servant. So they might be going for a grindstone sort of thing. All red. Fury, okay. Fury's just going to clear the way and allow them to attack for lethal. So I'll concede. I just lose to combat, so I'm not going to waste the time since I'm already low on time. Okay, so. Anything want to change for game 3? I don't think so. Maybe Leyline is better than Bowmaster, just in general? Willing to believe that. I'll try that. I'll try the 3 ley lines in instead of the Bowmasters. And submit like that. Three ley lines, 80 card deck. Guaranteed every time. All right, on the play for game 3. Reveal the Yorion. Well, we found the ley line. We just didn't find lands to go with it. Pity, because this hand is really good. I don't think I can keep it, though. This hand is fine. I can basically just like mill creatures and reanimate, then Liquor Wisp for value, so I'm going to keep it. I'll put away Scrubland, just in case they play like a Magus or something. They're on 6 cards as well. The Lion Sash is good for what it's worth. I'm going to not surveil yet because I can't use the reanimate yet anyway. Okay, Soul Cauldron, which does help kind of inform my decisions here. So let's go Backstreet. Don't want Vial anymore. There's a Grief, but again, not quite what we want here. I think that I'd rather get this Lion Sash down. And now my hope is that I can, use this to eat the graveyard. Well, that's unfortunate a little bit. Unless they eat the Lion Sash now with Full Cauldron. They didn't. Do I get Yorion in hand this turn, or do I kind of hold up Surveil Land and try to get Grief going? I think I'm going to hold up a Surveil Land, like fetch into Surveil. Try to keep this Grief up as a safer way to manage it. There's the Saga. The Engineer. So this could get indefinitely large if they, get the Devourer and then throw it on there, but it can't attack yet. ETBs, discard a card if you do draw a card. Okay. So end step, I'm going to surveil first just to have the knowledge of what's going on. At the sewers. Don't want Vial. I will allow the Engineer. And now I got a Grief, which is pretty good. So I'm just going to cast it straight up. Get to eat a card. Plow and Painter. Well, I'm going to get rid of the Source to Plowshares because if they find a white source, I would just lose to that on the spot. But Painter, lose to white source or lose to Saga ticking up to 3. I might get a chance to flicker this Grief. Oh, I can also Wasteland the Saga. So yeah, Plow is the easy choice here. My hope is that I can set it up so I can use Flicker Wisp to flicker the Soul Cauldron once it's already used the Devourer. So that's happening now. So this Scrapwork Mutt can get arbitrarily large. That will be blocking, obviously. Oh, they didn't use it. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so they still have Painter in hand as their last card. It's interesting. Right on top. And I found an Animate Dead, so this is really good for me. Because I can essentially do two things here. So I can like overload, air quotes, this Soul Cauldron by, yeah, that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go, well, if I do that, then they try to beat this Painter at the same time as overload the Soul Cauldron. I want to Flicker Wisp the Soul Cauldron so that it doesn't have the ability anymore, but this is using both of these is a 3-mana play. If I flicker the soul cauldron, I can eat the grief. I guess that's okay. Not good. It's not really what I want, but it's not the worst. It's tricky. Oh man, I'm burning time. Okay. I think I have to flicker with the soul cauldron because it can make anything just indefinitely large. And then wasteland the saga. Not really happy with how this is working out. I feel like I could have played this better. Tough spot for me. Those flicker wisp shenanigans are not really my forte, unfortunately. Get that out of here. They're making the big thing here. They didn't. Okay, so now I wasteland there. Okay, so now I'm just going to try not to lose in time. Lion Sash. So they can pay white to grow this. That's kind of funny. Again, really want Serenity. Engineer. Wonder what they're going to hit. So I have 2 reanimation spells. I want to bait with the reanimate, I think. And then reanimate with the other one. But I'm not sure what I'm going to get yet. Grindstone, okay. With the painter in hand. They could eat a card here. Throw it. But in doing so, I get 2 creatures back. Yeah, okay. Because if they do this, then I get to Flicker Wisp. Yeah, now I get... This actually works out really well for me. Because I get to bring back both the Grief and the Flicker Wisp. Okay, it doesn't work out quite as well for me anymore. I still get to do this thing. Okay, Cauldron is not the draw we needed. So does flickering anything here help me? I think I guess step 1 is reanimate the scrapwork mutt. And like discard Cauldron, get a card. Okay, it's another reanimate. That do what I need it to do? I don't think so. Animate dead Flicker Wisp. And get the token out of here, I guess. Oh wait, I know what to do. I flicker the animate dead. And then I flicker the Goblin Engineer on end step. Yeah. This is weird, but I think it'll work. Okay, then on end step I get it back, and then I can flicker the Engineer. attach the aura to Flicker Wisp again. And then I get rid of the engineer, I think, because otherwise they can just do painter things. Okay, that's the play. I'm low on time. I'm really just kind of trying to tread water until I find something that can save me here. Saga off the top. Construct is big. No block. Okay, so then the engineer comes back into play on end step. Not looking good for me. Either on clock, on almost dead on board position. Lots of problems here. Another painter. Let's start with a reanimate on Scrapwork Mutt. We can discard the scrubland to try to find something new. Okay, or not. So now I need to decide whether or not I'm going to play this land. I don't think I am. Because they might just, if I play it and like do a Yorion into hand, then they know that the coast is completely clear to combo me out. And I don't want them to straight up know that. They might do it anyway since they have a redundant painter. But adding some unknown to the whole thing is beneficial to me. Oof, rough. Okay. No, this is looking real rough. Okay, we made it to draw. I mean, we're pretty dead here, but did make it to draw step. Put Yorion into hand. Pretend we're not dead. We're dead, but I'm going to pretend we're not. Okay, making a construct. They might be doing, this is actually a good line that they're doing here, which is to just beat us down with constructs, and then the moment that we like have to overextend to survive the constructs, which I can't do, mind you. I'm dead either way. And then they also just get a natural grindstone here if they have one. Like, I'm dead extra ways this way. So that's a smart play on their end. I'm just going to GG here. Good luck in the rest. Metrix 2688. And for everyone else, I'll see you next round. Metrix wins the match. Everyone back for round 2. We're against Kasa, K-A-S-A, who, according to MTG Goldfish, plays Reanimator. Like Scaminator, or it's Scaminator. This hand seems solid against Scaminator, so keep it. I'm gonna lead on Tundra just to like mask what I'm on. This kind of looks like a 5-color control deck now. Beanstalk kind of control thing. I will get a shadowy back street. Brief, does that change it? I think this is just a hold up bowmaster turn. I think before I grief, I'd rather like have some way to reanimate or flicker it. The bowmaster is in. I wonder what that means. No days, no force. What do they have? Their own bowmaster? Probably most likely. Yep. Then we can follow it up with yet another bowmaster of our own. Or we could grief reanimate. Let's do that. Grief pitching bowmaster. They do have force and days. So if I take the days here, then I can reanimate my troll. Let's Vial first. Animate dead on top is nice. Okay. With animate dead on top, what do I do? Does that change anything? I think I still reanimate my troll. Back with the army. Trade in armies. This is worth it because of their second bowmaster, in my opinion. Like, I don't want a 2-2 army on their side. Notably, they are at 3 hits away from dead due to troll. They could reanimate my grief. If they do that, I will think, yeah, if they do that, so if they reanimate my grief, I'm going to plow it. Plow it with that on the stack. Now they have to take the Solitude, and then I get to animate dead the Solitude. Or do I animate? I'm going to animate dead the Bowmaster. Or, nah, Solitude. I want to get Solitude out of the yard so that they can't use the Solitude. And then we crunch for 6. See what they find. Fourth land. We know they have Bowmaster in hand. Lion Sash is a really good draw. I'm going to attack with just Troll. It's in. Okay. Now I play Lion Sash. And I basically am going to hold back on using the ability until they put Bowmaster on the stack. Once they put Bowmaster on the stack, I'd use the ability to exile. Or like once they target Lion Sash. Okay, Brainstorm. No. They've conceded, which means they didn't find Answer to Lion Sash plus Entomb Reanimate. Okay, so against Scaminator. Ley lines are probably not worth bringing in because they can just Thought Seize and reanimate our stuff. We're playing with the same things. I'm pretty well boarded for this matchup already. I think I might do something very small, like just switch Plague Engineer and Opposition Agent. I can Plague Engineer Orc. Pest controls are actually pretty dead. Forgot about that. They don't have any ones to hit, so I can just... Are Op Agents better than the Line of the Void? Probably, they're annoying. Beat in tombs. So does Leyline of the Void, but I think that this is like a better Yorion. Okay, so we got a Vial hand. Bit. Okay, so we're getting grief here. Wonder what they take. Pitch to Bowmaster. Which makes sense. We're not a cantripping deck. I mean, Satoru draws cards, but that's about it. We're gonna go for Vial and Plow. Seems to be the play. And off the top, we find a Solitude. That's nice. I think I'm gonna lead on Underground Sea here, just because I want to preserve my white. Try to get the Satoru down. Again, I'm really just trying to play around Wasteland as best I can. That resolved quickly. What are they going to do? Petty Theft. I think I'm actually going to get cute for a minute here. Draw a card. Solitude. Grief off the field. So I drew a third land now, which is pretty nice. It made the Solitude like a 1-for-1 play as opposed to a 2-for-1. And then if they reanimate this troll, then any reanimation on the Solitude answers it. Okay, now I can... I could do Grief Pitching Plague Engineered. I think I will do. Just don't know what they have in hand, and it's making me... Bowmaster, okay. Bowmaster is going to deal 2 here. Or the land or something. And from opponent. No, it's just another Bowmaster. Okay. Then that was fine. They have nothing in hand, and a Bowmaster in play. We have a couple cards in hand. This Sword of Light and Shadow is quite good if I can get it online. They're just, building up their mana. Swamp, they can still cast the Brazen Borrower. I think that I'm going to keep my lands in play. Because 5 mana to recast a Solitude is good. So I can get this Light and Shadow onto Satoru, I can attack, I can gain life, bring back Solitude, Grief, and then do all sorts of damage. They're only going to be able to keep 1 card with that Brainstorm. Brainstorm into Ponder, Ponder shuffled. So, Fatal Push. Very sad. If I don't find anything good here, what I'm going to do is put Yorion in. Didn't find anything good here, so what I'm going to do is put Yorion in my hand. And Ephemerate on top, I think. Yeah, I think Ephemerate's much better than a random draw. Yorion in hand. If I take 6 this turn, go to 3. Ephemerate was not worth keeping on top. This was a mistake. I just didn't do the combat math correctly. Yeah, Yorion doesn't actually survive this. Just gets cast, but for no extra value. Unless they're playing around a removal spell, which they probably shouldn't, then I'm going to lose this game. Yep, that was a mistake with the Ephemerate on top. Yeah, Marsh Flats wouldn't have done it either. Okay. Game 3. Run it back. I don't feel like I'm playing my best tonight. But we can't always be on our A game. I quit drinking caffeine 2 days ago. I'm feeling it today. It's going to be good for me. It's kind of tough right now. Let's see if we can get this match too, though. I think we can win. We'll be on the play in game 3, which is a big deal. I just need to be able to function a little bit better. Shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully we get one of those Grief Reanimate hands, or Grief Ephemerate is even better than those hands. A Vial too, why not? A land? 2 lands? Something like that. Be really sweet. On the play for game 3. Kill Yorion. Vials and Trolls. It's like essentially 7 mana sources I have to mulligan. This hand is better, I think. Doesn't really cast Satoru, but I'll keep it. I'm gonna put away Wasteland. And I will try to get a reanimation spell or something to the top. Marsh Flats. Like using a Surveil land. They lead on Ponder. Fetch Ponder kind of feels like a their light on land situation. Obviously remains to be seen, but that's kind of the takeaway. Chose not to shuffle. I'll go blue-black because we have white in Caracas. And was not quite rewarded. Think that I'm going to Swamp Cycle and get the other Shadowy Backstreet this turn. And then next turn I can do like Satoru thing. Stoneforge is also a solid draw, just a solid card to have. But they might just be looking. Chose not to shuffle, so they land, yep. I'll play the land out. I will play Satoru. And then I will grief pitch grief. If this doesn't resolve, I'll hold it back another. You're thinking about it. Okay, grief pitch grief. Forcing the grief. Okay. Grief is forced. Doom. Archon of cruel. Very cruel. Have the answer. So I'm going to return Satoru to my hand here because either way it has to die. Then this way I don't have to also discard another card. Your card. Brainstorming while I cannot cast. Trying to figure out what my best draws would be. Well, that's not good. I guess my next best draw is a Source of Pleasures. That one. Animate dead. Good for me. Lets me put Satoru into play to draw a card. Not the best. I can like then Caracas it back again to like this card for value. Yeah, I guess it's the play. I'm just not happy about it. I'm just like trying to find another plow. This draws me a card. It draws me another Satoru. I'm gonna do this now since there's no remove your creature in response, like they're tapped out. Taking 9 here, which is too much damage to take. Oh no. Traxa? Flooded Strand. Choice. I need to find the removal spell here or I just lose on the spot. Lose on the spot. Unfortunate. Surveil once. We're out of surveils. We lose. That's unfortunate. I guess we're 0-2 in this challenge, but that's okay. Jeez. I'll see you all for round 3. Everyone, we're back for round 3, winning die rolls, and so far losing matches, maybe winning this one. Find out. I'll keep this. Got stable mana. I'm going to go Scrubland Pass, I think. The other option here is, Grief Fishing Satoru, but I don't have any like reanimation spell to go with it. And so I'd rather get the Satoru into grief value on turn 2. Assuming that we draw a black card, I guess. Since Troll is the other black card. Chalice. Chalice on 1. Okay, that's fine. We've got a Skyclave Apparition for that. So we get Underground Sea here. We did not draw a white card. Sorry, we did not draw a black card. We did draw a white card, which is a good one. We drew Solitude, which will draw us a card if needed. And be able to answer any threats coming down. So we're pretty happy about that. Evoked Fury. I don't think I should evoke Solitude in response. That doesn't really make sense. This is fine. They pitched a Simian Spirit Guide. Okay. Ideally, we just draw a white source and we Skyclave Apparition this Chalice. There's no license for that hearse. That's a little annoying, but I think we're going to use it now because the red Stompy decks pretty quickly empty their hand. That's what we're up against, the red Stompy deck. And so this is kind of our last chance of getting usable magic cards off the top. So yeah, we're going to take this Fable. We'll see if they Chalice on 2. I don't really care if they do, given my hand, because I have the Skyclave and whatnot, so I can just fight the red deck pretty effectively. But they have now an Ancient Tomb and a Chalice. So at this point, see if they just tap Tomb, Ancient Tomb, or say Tomb, Chalice on 2. But no, they chose not to. Stoneforge. This is going to fish up a Cauldron Complete. Now they're probably wishing they did that Chalice play. Obviously, this is about as good for us as things could go, other than finding that land there. Cauldron is really hard for these red decks to beat. They're still holding back the Chalice. I'm just going to get in there with this Cauldron and start attacking, because otherwise I'm letting them draw Haymaker cards. And this way I can just end the game. I have a Solitude in my hand that I can use as kind of an emergency remove the creature if needed kind of deal. But I don't think that's the case right now. Okay, yeah, opponent agrees. 1-0. So I want Serenities in. Plague Engineer is pretty good on Goblin against them because they have Rebel Master, Legion Warboss sometimes, stuff like that. Lion Sash doesn't do too much. Opposition Agent doesn't do too much. Sword of Light and Shadow is like okay at regaining life. Probably better than a Bowmaster. There's Mindbreak traps are not straight up dead on turn 1. Like they can go like land, box, chrome box. Not very likely. So I think that it's better for me just to run it like this. I will try to be a little bit more careful about getting basics if I can. One land. I have Satoru. I think I need to keep off the back of how close it is to. I have a pest control to blow up paralysis. So I'm keeping it. I kept a 6 that not have a play. So I'm going to go Grief pitching pest control now because I can ephemerate this. Yeah, I will take. Yeah, I can take essentially Broadside and Ravel Master. And then either they Fury this with no recourse. They Fury this and pitch their last card and have nothing in play. Or I just get to take Fury on the ephemerate. Also, if they Fury me, then I can just reanimate it. So that's fine too. They did a plot of a Stingerback Terror. I get to take this Fury now. I have a few choices here. I think I'm going to Vial now. And then I can figure out how to answer this dragon. I have a few ways. I could plow it. I could hand size reanimate Fury, but it's a 5/5 right now, so Fury will not kill it. Reanimate Broadside Bombardiers and fling Grief at it actually does kill it. Swamp Cycle the Troll. I am going to get basic Swamp here. I will get Broadside Bombardiers in play. Attack with both. Choose this Grief 5, so it kills it. So the reason I did this is just because it's safer to get it off the board. I don't need to extract all the value that I humanly can. I just need to win. Still got a Grief though. You draw a black card for it? Did, okay. Now I attack. And what's going to happen is I'm going to attack and then second main phase. Turn it to Okay. Suppose that's allowed. But I was gonna say second main phase I was gonna grief to draw a card and then use the boast ability to then deal 6 off the like before the grief dies. I can just fling it. But unfortunately, opponent cleared the board in time, so that they play the Bombardier, let it resolve. Unless they play another artifact, not that worried. If they just attack like this, I can flash into Bowmaster and double block. They'll do a 1 to a block. So they really only kill the Bowmaster. It's not what they wanted. I Vial in Stoneforge with this still on 2. Draw a card. And then I was going to tick up, but opponent has had enough. So we got a match. Awesome. We are now 1 and 2. Climbing back up. Top? No. We 4-2 we're like gonna likely be top 16. Our kind of best outcome here. But I'm gonna try my best. I'll see you all for round 4. Everyone coming in for round 4. We're against Clan, who I know to be a Doomsday player due to their past history. This hand does not play against Doomsday, so I'm going to mulligan. This hand plays okay against Doomsday. I'll keep it. Back Underground C, perhaps? The idea being that I can either Stoneforge or Bowmaster them, depending upon. Dude, they've kept a card on top. Lotus Petal coming out. Solitude is obviously not necessarily a card we see here. I'm debating between going for the Wasteland play or going for like a turn 2 Bowmaster or Cauldra. I think that's what I'm going to do. The reason being, I would, before they Doomsday, like, you're not going to Wasteland to screw a Doomsday player out of mana if you Wasteland before the Doomsday. But if you do one after they Doomsday, then what could happen is they don't anticipate getting Wastelanded, or they don't anticipate getting Wastelanded twice, or whatever it is, and they lose after they've made their pile because they don't have enough sources. This is probably Doomsday. Yep. Oh no, we do at least have a Solitude switching Stoneforge to get rid of any reanimation, or sorry, any Oracle that isn't done with an empty library. So Clan's building their Doomsday pile. Once they're finished, we'll look at it. They finish pretty quickly. Okay, so we'll pop this out. Let's count the Force of Will. 1, 2, 3. 3 Force of Wills, which means either one's in hand or one's in the deck. I'm going to screenshot this so we can reference it for future games. Lines of Diamonds not in the pile. Let's count other mana sources. Underground C, Underground C, Underground C. So no other underground seas. Lotus petal, lotus petal, lotus petal. Probably a cavern of souls in the pile. That's the other source of cards that they've got. But I'm going to fetch on end step and do a surveil. Try to find a grief. Stoneforge is not bad. Grief would be ideal here. I will reanimate Stoneforge. Get a Cauldra, and then I'll wasteland the underground sea. This eats a force, I'm actually also okay with that. Not eat a force. Cauldra to hand. Get rid of that underground sea. So yeah, at this point I think they've got Cavern, Oracle in their pile. Maybe a couple more cyclers. Here's a cycler. Do they have another? They have a basic island in their deck that they put in there. That's probably it then. Yes, this resolves and then I solitude it. They might force this if they have an answer. Like if they have the force available, they may as well use it. They have a fourth daze. Okay, good to know. So yeah, tough matchup obviously. But we've got sideboard at the wazoo for it. Mindbreak Trap, not Plague Engineer. Opposition Agent, get in there. Okay. So Source of Plowshare is not ideal. I'll keep some Solitudes for combination of beatdowns and just like getting rid of like Shieldreds or Murktides post board. Lion Sash doesn't do much either. Sort of Light and Shadow at least gets creatures back. Probably not good, but it's fine. Really, it's going to be about leveraging the hand that we're keeping. It's possible I should have mulliganed more aggressively game one, but you know, you can never be absolutely sure what someone's playing. A hand like this is fantastic. We can go Grief Pitch Grief with the first play, and then I can go from there and reassess as I need to. Sorry, Grief Pitch Troll, not Pitch Grief. Use the second Grief if needed later on. Okay, so Dark Ritual, Personal Tutor, Ponder Thoughtseize. With one land. With one land, I kind of want to take the Dark Ritual. But maybe Personal Tutor is the right call. I feel like they have to find another ritual then before they can use the Personal Tutor. Yeah, I'll grab the Dark Rit. And I am actually going to use this one now because I want to know whether or not I want to fire this off early or wait a little bit. Stoneforge on top. I'm going to wait a turn on this grief because I want to Stoneforge up a Cauldron. Which then means that I'm motivated to wait. They might Thoughtseize me here, in which case, fine too. Ponder, okay. Supposed to not shuffle. Playing out a pedal. I will grief pitching a Bowmaster. Force of Will. Okay, so I'm going to take the Thoughtseize here. But let's figure this out. So if I take Personal Tutor, then they just Thoughtseize the equipment off the Stoneforge. Yeah, I guess that's better than the alternative. I'll force them to make that play. I'm not going to get the Cauldron, though. I'm going to get the Sword of Light and Shadow because I can start rebuying these griefs. And also because I want to keep the Cauldron in here for later. Like, I assume this is getting Thoughtseized, and therefore I'm going to get the worse equipment. I might be too many levels deep in the game theory here. But I think this makes sense. Okay, they're surveilling first before they make their decision on Thoughtseize and stuff. That seems fine. Yes, now they Thoughtseize me. I assume they take the sword. Yep. Ultra. Satoru. Okay. Solid card off the top at least. Not the worst. Honestly, a reasonable Force of Will target. Yeah. They agree. So now I'm hoping that they whiff on Doomsday. And that I'm hoping to draw Wastelands. Or a Cauldron. Cauldron would be great too. Chose not to shuffle. Bad for me. Ah. Need that third land. Rough. Yep, there's the Doomsday. At this point, we just are kind of at the mercy of the top of our deck. There's really nothing that we could do here. I think we played this game well for what it's worth. Like, I don't think I made any mistakes. At least that I can identify. The hand we kept was right. think we pitched the right cards at the right times, cast the right spells at the right times, took the right things at the right times. It's just that it didn't quite line up where we needed. Like we got the Force of Will and the Satoru, right? And then this ponder was off the top to then find the Doom. Okay, they finished the pile. Let's look at the exile. So we've got 1, 2, all 4 forces in exile. 3 days is in exile, which means they might have one in their hand or the pile. LED is there. Let's see, Underground Sea. Underground Sea. They've got lands in there for sure. Okay. This is where we attack and do the best. Okay. I am going to try to end step an opposition agent here. Funny thing is Ephemerate off the top wins because I can activate Stoneforge and then Ephemerate in response. And then get the Cauldra. Attack for 5. Put Yorion in hand as a Solitude pitch. Turn target permanent surveil 1. And that's not ideal. I could Solitude it. Prevent the surveil. Trying to get rid of the surveil. Hopefully that could mean that extra spells get cast and this Mindbreak Trap goes live. Really grasping at straws here. That's kind of the way I've got to do it. Like somehow that 3 spells get cast this turn? Unlikely. Or I top deck a blue source. If I draw a blue source, I can just cast Mindbreak Trap. It's not a blue source. I'm going to hold back. I don't want to force them to go for it this turn, which playing the lethal attacker would do. Not a spell. Again, not a spell. And uncounterable. Okay, well, I mean, we could counter it with a Mindbreak Trap at the 4th end, but it was not to be. All right, so unfortunately we're 1 and 3 now. think I'm going to stick around and try to play a couple more. Try to claw back into the top 32 with a couple wins. But yeah, I'll see you all for round 5. Everyone are back for round 5. Not crushing this tournament, but we're gonna try for a little bit. Given that we're 1 and 3 in the event, we'll have to win the next 2 to top 32. So if I win this one, I'll try to stick it out for the last one. Otherwise, I think that if I won 4, I'm dropping, basically. I'll keep this 6. I think I'm going to bottom a delta. And I'm going to go scrubland vial. Don't know what our opponent's on. I didn't bother looking them up at this point in the tournament. Buttsies. They got rid of the guard. Probably something grindy if they took the recruiter. At this point, I'm going to go Tundra Stoneforge. Going to get Uldra. And essentially just demand another discard spell from them. Which they might have. Black. Into Turok? No. Harvester of Misery. Killing my Stoneforge. Okay. Vial up to 2. And what do we want? Reanimate would be really good. Reanimate recruiter to the guard. Hard to say. Stoneforge not bad. I think I'm going to hold off on this particular Stoneforge because I can surprise them. Violet and end step. That's going to be my plan. Mortuary, okay. They're on like a mono black scam aggro build is my assumption now. Lothy Voidwalker, it's fine. Do they follow it with a grief? They decide no. They decide maybe. No. Okay. So we're going to plow this Voidwalker. We're going to file in the Stoneforge. Yes, we're going to get a Lion's Hash. I'm going to Vial in the Lion's Sash and then take this up to 3. I kind of just hope to rip a land off the top in order to pump this around a Bowmaster. I think that's the way I want to do this, yeah. Vial on the stack, activate Vial. Opponent's seen enough. Against Mono Black Scam. I think maybe just Op Agent out, Plague Engineer in. Yeah, let's do some light sideboarding like that. Seems fine. Ley lines might gain some value if we see Stalactite Stalker, since it keeps it as a 1/1. But I think that be like over Bowmaster. I'll try it. I just think that the but probably gonna do more than Bowmasters. We got one in the opener. That's about all we could ask for there. Keep it. Reveal Leyline. Opponent needs to figure out what he's doing. Opponent's leading on a Verdant Catacombs and just passing the turn. Interesting. And what do we have? I'm going to lead on the Marsh Flats to do some surveil action on the end step. Got a lot of choices about what to do moving forward. Stoneforge is, of my plays, the most vulnerable. Toru is not super explosive, but with Ephemerate really pops off. Root of the Guard, obviously, 1 Zeke to 3 mana, becomes very, very good, and I can get whatever toolbox card I need at that point. I just kind of got to let the game get there. Dark Writ. Grief. Yeah. Do what they take, and then we can use that to inform our surveil decision. The reason I'm not getting a basic here is because I can face with this Wasteland, because I have 2 more non-basics in my hand. And so this Wasteland is going to be live regardless, and so by getting a non-basic, I'll have more colors after the Wasteland. I paused it for a minute. Opponent's thinking pretty long and hard on my hand about what to take. Okay. Decided on... They have not decided yet. I'm going to pause again. Okay, they decided on Stoneforge Mystic. The Backstreet's back. I am going to keep the land, because I know about the Wasteland and I know I want to hit Recruiter with the Guard. I think that having the land is actually worthwhile for me. Not amazing, but well. Because I want to build up to 3, because this Recruiter, the deck really pops off at 3. Taking 2 damage here. Once upon a time. Okay, so that must have been their draw step. I like the idea of Once Upon a Time in this deck. It helps your brief density. You can play fewer lands. I don't think you can do it if you're already splashing a third color in like Esper stuff, but if you're going, you know, the way I'm doing it here, or sorry, not the way I'm doing it here, but like the way I was doing it last week, it's just black white. You could splash small green for Once Upon a Time. You could just play mono black scam, splashing green, kind of what opponent's doing here. A lot of ways to do it. Let's surveil first, see what we might hit if we drew a card. Animate Dead. It's a good one to have, but I don't need it just yet. I can use this Ephemerate as like a removal save, like save me from removal. Vial, float white. I don't care. So if I get something back here, two wastelands, yeah. Well, I'm glad I kept that fetch land a few turns ago. I'm going to animate Dead on Crew of the Guard, because this goes so crazy with Ephemerate. And then I'll be getting the win because opponent just conceded. Very cool. 2-3, so I'll play the last round. I'll see you all in a minute. Everyone, we are back for the 6th and final round. Here against Musabi. They play all sorts of different decks. We'll see what they're on tonight. This hand plays in general, so I'm just going to keep it. I'll lead on maybe Delta Pass. I think it's the most ambiguous opening. Like it's, if I play Marsh Flats, it narrows down. Or I guess, I've already revealed Yorion, so maybe that changes things a little bit with regard to ambiguity, but maybe if I go Delta, then it could imply that I'm on some sort of, like, you know, fair Yorion control deck that Marsh Flats would more accurately give away. Okay, so they're probably playing Orzhov Scam, yeah, black-white Scam. So I will Shadowy Backstreet. I don't need Tundra. I think I'm going to play Scrubland here so I can do a Solitude Ephemerate thing if need be. I'm gonna reanimate the troll. Because it's kind of free-ish for me to do that. They don't have an easy way to flicker it back into their possession. They'll just have to remove it the old-fashioned way. I cannot flicker it to save it for what that's worth. Okay, so Stoneforge Mystic. Getting a Cauldra. So I could do the Satoru thing and yeah, I'm gonna wait a turn. So I will Underground Sea, so I get Satoru. Going to attack. And I'm thinking about waiting until the Cauldron comes into play because then I can get extra ephemerate value here. Do I even need it? Like it eats up their turn is my thought, but maybe the extra life is not worth giving them. Yeah, Ephemerate Solitude here. Exile Stoneforge again for good measure. And now, on my turn, if Solitude is still around, I can ephemerate it. Otherwise, I can ephemerate Satoru. Okay. Opponent's had enough. For the mirror. Playing engineer over opposition agent is maybe my only... No, pest controls are bad. Remember that again. Keep on forgetting about pest control. Like in the deck when I'm doing sideboarding, but I think it makes sense to cut. We just don't have enough hits otherwise. I don't think I want Leyline of the Void. I'll run it like this. On the draw for game 2, revealing Yorion. We have a Grief Ephemerate opener, which you'd love to see. So we'll keep it. Obviously, if opponent does their own grief stuff, then it falls apart, but so far so good. Grief pitching Oppo agent, I think. This animate dead's going to be on average better than opposition agent. So I can take Dothy Voidwalker, Dothy Voidwalker. And then if they play Stoneforge, the next turn I can just take the equipment. So they're motivated to not do that. Opponent is pausing. Not quite sure what they could be doing here. Okay. Take the other Dothy Voidwalker. And pass the turn. So now they're looking at a card, trying to decide whether or not to bin it. If it's on top, it's probably black, is my guess then. For this grief. Plains down, Stoneforge. Okay, so they're going to get an equipment. Which I will be able to discard. They got Lion Sash. Ah, it was Solitude, that's why. So fortunately for me, I can animate dead the Solitude to get rid of the Stoneforge. Which is what I'm going to do. They exiled the Lion Sash. Okay, yeah, so Stoneforge is gone. Their hand is just a grief that I know about, but... Yep, This doesn't do anything anymore. Satoru. So I know the hand is Grief and Marsh Flats. No. I'm going to play Satoru. Because worst case scenario, they play the Cauldra. I can just Solitude the Cauldra. Get our value train running. Okay, they are doing the line. This is how it backfires. But we know about Grief in hand. So I'll play Shadowy Backstreet first. Sort of Light and Shadow is probably good. Play Lavinia here. So they can no longer play free spells. That's the idea of this. They have to pay full retail for their stuff. Started Thoughtseize, so maybe they're trying to just draw a fourth land to cast the Grief. Okay, Troll Cycle. I'm trying to decide now if I'm either going to lose the Sword of Light and Shadow or the Animate Dead. I think the Sword of Light and Shadow is more important. So I'll play it. That attack was one of those, if I'm not blocking, I may as well attack. This Grief comes in, I assume. Takes my Animate Dead, I assume. Yep. I still think this is the better line for me. Root of the Guard's a good one. If I hold, yeah, I think I play Recruiter now. And let's see, as a way to machine gun down these creatures. It's probably Solitude. And this is kind of immune to being discarded as well because I can just do the pitch spell first. Yeah, I'm just going to take the hit this turn. What's going to happen here? Okay. That was a fantastic draw. So now I can put Yorion into my hand. And do some solitude ephemerating. So first things first, I'll get rid of the troll. I will ephemerate the solitude. Ah, rough. Okay. I got. That was a little bit rough, but it's okay. Now they get to do it again. I'm not out of it. Oh yeah, that one doesn't work. Cool. Good job, Lavinia, remembering things for me. Thanks. I think I will make this trade because I can sort of light and shadow and get this back. Kind of a free roll in some ways. And now I have to draw a land to do it. Just like that. We'll equip. Guess I can't recast Lavinia yet, but that's okay. We bring it back to hand. Why not? Waste a land. It's funny, with the lifelink being gone, we're technically winning this race because we're netting 1 damage per swing and they're taking 3 per swing. Reanimate, huh? Start off with an attack. Gain the life back. And then I think I reanimate the solitude. And then I'm going to attempt to equip the sword onto the solitude. So I get rid of the grief. To equip. Success. Now I have a 5/4 lifelink. That's good for me. It even races a troll if it comes down to that. Which it probably won't, but hey, a grief. Not relevant right now, but I'm getting 8 life per turn here. A 5 there, and then 3 more from the trigger. So this is very good for my ability to race the white-black deck with my pro-white, pro-black land, or not land, creature. The other thing with an equipment on it. Everything but land. Okay, so now I want to see what they have going on because I can buy back this grief. That's just a land. Okay. At least I get to buy the grief back now. Get some value in my Sword of Light and Shadow. And just like that, look, we're 2 swings away from winning the game, coming 3-3, getting top 32, just crushing it. That land play was a spew. There's no reason to reveal that information at this point. But it's 12:40. I'm tired. 12:40 a.m. It's been kind of a long event. Each round is more or less gone to time or beyond it. But hey, we won. So we finished in a reasonable 3-3. This will bump us up into top 32. We'll find out the exact final placing when I wake up tomorrow. I don't really feel like waiting for all these matches to finish, given that we're only 20 minutes in. But look at the deck. Oh, this is not the deck. This is Bant Dowser. Something else entirely, but another deck that Crucible of Worlds has been working on, and I wanted to give a try. He recommended it to me, so looking into that. But anyway, Esper Vial. Yeah, deck is fine. I think that it definitely has weaknesses. It's definitely better at grinding than the 60 card version. I don't think I was playing my best tonight. I think probably there was a better player or me at a better time could have won the first round. Maybe could have won the second. Don't think I could have won against Doomsday. I think I did my best there. I don't know if I could have won the second, but anyway, the idea is that the deck is solid. I don't know if like the mediocre finish is anything against the deck. Sometimes, you just don't win everything. It might not be a mistake. Might be some mistakes, might be a combination of luck and mistakes. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the way that the deck is actually configured. I didn't see any glaring issues with it. At all. We didn't have that much Vial. I don't know if maybe that's one of the things to be aware of is the deck too reliant on Vial? It doesn't even seem like we are. Like we're playing fine without Vial, so maybe we're good there. Dathi Voidwalker is a notable exclusion from the list, but it's just kind of hard to fit everything, even in 80 cards. Let's see here. Leyline of the Void maybe is worse than it should be. Like, so these should be something else, given that I'm not like bringing them in against Scaminator because they can just take our creatures. So maybe these should be like surgicals or something along those lines so that I could actually do more like pinpoint removal as needed, at which point they would be coming in against Scaminator. So that's probably a change that we could make to improve the deck. But all in all, I like the deck. Kind of, we're in this like Modern Horizons 3 waiting room where the format's about to rotate in a way, because MH3 is going to throw every format for a loop. It's going to be a completely different world. Remember what MH1 and MH2 have done. There's no reason to expect that MH3 isn't going to completely upend everything. So in these next couple weeks, I'm just kind of trying decks to mess around sounds a little bit too like dismissive of what I'm doing, but just kind of try things out and see if these ideas work, because once MH3 drops, I won't have a chance to really explore the format as it is right now anymore. So I'm just kind of trying to test the boundaries of the current format that we're in just to better understand it. And so, all in all, 3-3 finish for top 32, getting our entry back in this Saturday Night Legacy Challenge is not the worst. I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.